This person is making a big decision about you, a decision that is quietly reshaping their world in ways you cannot yet see. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to share may be happening right now in someone's mind, silently, secretly, and deeply, in ways they themselves might struggle to understand. You might not even realize it, but there is someone out there whose thoughts revolve around you far more intensely than they allow themselves to admit. They replay moments, words, glances, and unspoken feelings over and over, circling them like moths around a fragile flame, unsure whether to get closer or pull away. On the surface, everything might appear calm, normal, or detached, but inside, a storm is raging. A storm in which you are the epicenter. They are standing at one of the most significant emotional crossroads of their life, and the choice before them is neither simple nor fleeting. It is not a choice that can be made casually, lightly, or impulsively. The decision is not about your name, your social media profile, or a string of memories that can fade with time. It is about you, as a presence, as a soul, as someone whose existence carries meaning and consequence in their life. They are asking themselves questions that penetrate deeper than everyday concerns. Should I step forward or retreat? Should I embrace love or hide behind fear? Should I fight for this connection or surrender to the unknown? Each option weighs heavily, because each option demands self-reflection, courage, and truth. This person is engaged in a silent, intense inner battle, one that few outside would ever notice. To the world, they might appear functional, composed, even joyful. They might be working, socializing, smiling, or performing their usual routines as if everything is normal. Yet internally, a very different reality exists. In the quiet moments, late at night, in the early hours of morning, or in fleeting gaps between obligations, they find their thoughts returning to you again and again. They ask themselves questions that demand no easy answers. What if this choice reshapes my entire life? What if choosing you requires me to become someone I have never been before? What if I lose you permanently by hesitating? What if I act and fail? Each question deepens the weight of their contemplation. Here is something most people never understand. Silence is rarely the absence of feeling. Often, it is the presence of fear. Fear disguises itself as calm, as patience, or even indifference. Some people do not express their emotions because they are terrified of losing control, terrified of vulnerability. Some hesitate to pursue love because they were never shown what safety within love truly feels like. Some resist closeness not out of lack of care, but because caring itself feels perilous, as if it could open wounds they cannot yet heal. As Carl Jung once said, "Where your fear is, there your task is." And in this moment, you are the task they cannot ignore. Their heart pulls them toward you, recalling the peace, the understanding, the quiet calm they felt when you were present. In your presence, they glimpsed a version of themselves they had almost forgotten existed, a version capable of openness, honesty, and vulnerability. But their mind resists. The mind resurrects old wounds, past disappointments, moments of failure, and whispering doubts. It questions whether they are strong enough, healed enough, or worthy enough to pursue what is in front of them. They find themselves suspended between hope and fear, between the comfort of staying unchanged and the courage required to grow, and you are the fulcrum of that tension. This decision is heavy because it is about transformation as much as it is about love. Not every connection leaves a lasting mark. Some people drift through life without ever touching the deeper layers of those around them. Many relationships are temporary, fleeting, or simply lessons that pass with time. But with you, something far more profound occurred. You didn't just exist in their orbit, you activated something within them. You engaged parts of their psyche they had not fully confronted. You awakened both desire and fear, challenged comfort zones without coercion, mirrored insecurities without judgment, and reminded them of possibilities they had forgotten. Choosing you means change, and change is always threatening to the ego. Growth requires courage, and courage demands confrontation with one's inner truths. Around you, they felt more alive, more authentic, more exposed, and more seen than they have allowed themselves to feel in years. This connection does not vanish simply because words are left unspoken or circumstances shift. The emotional imprint remains, a quiet pulse that resurfaces in moments of stillness or recollection. This is why your name evokes reaction, why memories of you stir sensation, and why the prospect of permanent absence tightens their chest in ways they cannot articulate. You were not a distraction in their life. You were direction. You were not noise. You were meaning. And when someone encounters such clarity of presence, they are forced to confront themselves in ways they cannot avoid. Jung also observed that until unconscious elements are brought to awareness, they govern behavior under the guise of fate. Right now, this person is on the edge of that awakening. Avoidance is no longer neutral, silence is no longer safe, and indecision has consequences. They understand that waiting too long could mean losing you, that another might recognize your value without hesitation, and that the opportunity they have failed to embrace may not remain indefinitely. Simultaneously, fear persists. They fear being hurt again, fear past wounds resurfacing, and fear inadequacy in meeting the emotional depth your presence requires. Their hesitation is as much about themselves as it is about you. They are asking themselves if they are enough for the depth of connection you represent, if they have the courage to pursue love without retreat, and if the risk of vulnerability is worth the potential reward of authenticity. Deep love exposes insecurities, and when someone realizes they have something priceless to lose, self-doubt often intensifies. They measure themselves silently against the standard of what they experienced with you, wondering if they can rise to the occasion or if retreat feels safer. And yet, even amidst uncertainty, the gravity of your presence pulls them forward, reminding them that some risks are worth taking, some moments are worth seizing, and some connections define a lifetime. This decision is forming quietly, internally, invisibly, in the hidden chambers of their mind where thoughts swirl without resolution. And while they deliberate, something else is happening, something subtle but undeniable that you must recognize. Your energy matters. The way you carry yourself now, the way you honor your boundaries, the way you choose yourself over uncertainty, it all resonates far beyond what they can articulate. Sometimes, the moment someone chooses you is not the moment they act. It is the moment you stop waiting to be chosen. When you step fully into your own life, when you stop pausing for their indecision, an invisible shift begins, and the air around them changes as they confront the truth of your presence. As Jung said, what you resist persists. What you accept transforms. And the most profound transformation occurs when you stop halting your life for someone else's confusion. This is where your role begins, not in forcing answers, not in demanding clarity, but in simply existing as someone who refuses to diminish themselves for the comfort of another. And while they debate, while they circle the same questions over and over, something inside them is already evolving. Awareness has been activated, and once awareness arises, there is no returning to ignorance. Memories of you begin to surface, not in dramatic waves, but in quiet flashes that catch them off guard, reminding them of moments they cannot recreate or forget. They remember the way you listened without trying to fix, the way you held space without demanding answers, the way you made them feel accepted without possession or pressure. Each memory is a quiet revelation, a mirror showing not just who they are, but who they could become. This realization unsettles them, not because of you, but because of what you represent: emotional honesty, depth, and a reflection of their own unacknowledged potential. Mirrors can be uncomfortable for those still negotiating with shadows, and Carl Jung observed that people will go to any lengths to avoid facing their own souls. Right now, they are standing face to face with theirs, and that confrontation creates tension, hesitation, and oscillation. One moment they feel pulled toward you, imagining the courage it would take to step forward, to speak their truth, to choose love. The next moment, retreat becomes their default, convincing themselves that distance is safer, that silence is control, that time might resolve the conflict they refuse to confront. But time does not erase connections that carry meaning, it only clarifies them. They notice how life feels in your absence, less vivid, less alive, flatter in ways they hadn't acknowledged. You didn't merely occupy space in their life, you altered its internal environment, and that change remains. They sense that something essential has shifted, and that sense brings the decision to the surface, undeniable and unavoidable. At this stage, another layer of their inner conflict emerges: responsibility. Their questions deepen beyond desire into accountability. Can I show up consistently? Can I be emotionally available rather than merely interested? Can I protect this connection rather than sabotage it when fear arises? Can I love fully without hiding or withdrawing? These questions feel heavy because choosing you would mean no half effort, no ambiguity, no shortcuts, no excuses. They understand clearly that you are not built for games or endless waiting. Choosing you demands integrity, and integrity demands evolution. Deep love is rarely simple. It asks for reflection, courage, and willingness to grow beyond the familiar. Many hesitate at this very point, not because they do not care, but because they do care. They understand that fully entering your life requires them to confront their limitations, confront patterns that no longer serve them, and step into a version of themselves that is braver, stronger, and more honest. Jung once said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain. Growth is uncomfortable. Love that transforms is uncomfortable." They are standing at that threshold, feeling the weight of discomfort pressing against their desire. They sense that the choice you represent is not just about connection, it is about evolution, and growth never comes without a price. It is precisely this cost that makes hesitation feel both protective and punishing. They also notice the subtle shifts in you. Even if you haven't spoken or announced change, they feel it in your energy. You are less chasing, less explaining, less reaching into silence for validation. You are more grounded, more centered, more self-directed. This transformation unsettles them because the illusion of control vanishes when someone stops waiting for permission to exist fully. Your life continues, your worth does not pause, and the reality of your movement, the quiet, confident momentum, illuminates their indecision. When someone stops chasing, the dynamics shift. When someone chooses themselves, it awakens awareness. And awareness, once present, cannot be ignored. This realization begins to spark urgency. They start imagining scenarios they had previously avoided. You meeting someone new, choosing peace over longing, quietly closing a door without confrontation or fanfare. That possibility awakens attachment, exposes fear, and heightens the gravity of what they risk losing. They feel the quiet pull of inevitability, the sense that time will not wait, that opportunities lost cannot be reclaimed. Your presence, your energy, your self-respect, all act as catalysts, forcing them to confront the consequences of hesitation. The thoughts that arise are not just about desire, but about accountability, courage, and the recognition that love is as much about commitment as it is about feeling. Not the possessive kind, but the vulnerable kind, the kind that admits quietly to themselves, This mattered to me far more than I allowed myself to feel. It is a vulnerability that carries weight, because acknowledging it opens the door to fear. Fear of rejection, fear of being seen too clearly, fear of failing you, fear of reopening wounds they thought were closed. Sometimes, instead of acting, they freeze. They convince themselves that stillness is neutral, that postponement is harmless. Yet, even in inaction, the decision is forming. Each day that courage is not chosen, a subtle regret accumulates, a quiet tension settles, a sense that something essential is being deferred. In this silence, the paradox emerges. Every moment of hesitation is also a moment of choice. They begin to understand the cost of not moving forward. Choosing not to act is not neutral, it carries consequences. If they choose you, they risk the vulnerability of pain. If they refrain, they risk the lingering ache of regret, a weight far heavier than heartbreak itself. Heartbreak can heal over time, but regret ferments quietly, unrelenting. This is why you still occupy space in their mind and heart. This is why distractions feel hollow, noise fails to replace meaning, and silence brings unease rather than peace. Through you, they are learning the crucial truth. Avoiding vulnerability is no longer satisfying. Emotional safety without depth is empty. Comfort without connection leaves the soul restless. And rationalizations only postpone the inevitable realization. Courage is required. The question evolves from, do I feel something? To, do I have the courage to honor it? Meanwhile, your role does not change. You are not responsible for convincing them, proving your worth, or waiting in suspended uncertainty. Your power lies in alignment, choosing your growth, honoring your peace, and directing your life with clarity. Whether they step forward now, later, or never, the critical movement is happening within you. When you fully embrace yourself, when your worth ceases to be negotiable, clarity accelerates. Either they rise to meet you or they step aside. Both outcomes serve your evolution. As Jung said, who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. Right now, the invitation is mutual. Awakening calls to both of you. This tension deepens because the choice is no longer just emotional. It has become existential. They sense that choosing you is not merely choosing a relationship. It is choosing a new standard, a transformed self, a version of themselves that demands responsibility, consistency, and authenticity. That realization is intimidating. Some people are comfortable with longing but unprepared for accountability. They enjoy the feeling of connection but fear the structure that love and commitment impose. When a bond feels as meaningful as the one they shared with you, it demands realness. Self-sabotage appears as hesitation, rationalization, or withdrawal, but it is driven by fear. The fear of failing at something that truly matters, of confronting the depth of what your presence exposes within them. When something touches the core, failure feels like a reflection of self. You touch their core. You force a reckoning with capacity. Capacity not just for passion, but for presence. Not just for affection, but for consistency. Not just for desire, but for emotional reliability. They hesitate because choosing you requires full visibility, full accountability, and the courage to shed pretense. No longer can they hide behind timing, distance, or ambiguity. To choose you is to step into complete exposure, a terrifying proposition for someone who has learned to survive by guarding themselves. Yet simultaneously, they begin to notice a shift in you. Quiet strength, grounded energy, and self-possession become visible. Your stability unsettles them, but it also inspires longing. They see that you are no longer chasing. They feel that your life continues without waiting for their permission. Your value is embodied, unspoken, yet undeniable. Desire thrives on distance, and when distance is dignified, it amplifies the pull. They start missing not just your presence, but the way they felt in your orbit, the emotional clarity, the calmness, the sense of being understood without interrogation. They compare other connections and find nothing matches the authenticity they shared with you. Authenticity leaves a residue. It lingers in memory, in perception, in the nervous system. Attempts to replace or replicate it fall short. The connection cannot be resolved without acknowledgement, and avoidance only intensifies its weight. The fear of loss becomes real. Your moving on begins to feel possible, tangible, unavoidable. Meanwhile, you continue on your own path. Your movement, alignment, and choice create a gravitational field that invites awakening in others, but your focus remains on your evolution. Every decision you make now reinforces your integrity, your self-worth, and your trajectory. Whether they act or retreat, your life progresses, and your energy radiates stability, confidence, and direction. This is the subtle yet profound shift of power. Your value no longer needs validation from their action. Their hesitation, reflection, and eventual choice are only secondary. You have embodied your worth, and that embodiment commands recognition. Desire, respect, and longing deepen in response, and the tension that once bound you both begins to clarify itself, revealing the inevitable truth. The next movement is theirs, but the most important movement has already been made by you. Patience does not mean self-abandonment. Love does not require erasing your own presence or diminishing your worth to accommodate someone else's uncertainty. Understanding does not obligate you to tolerate ambiguity indefinitely. Your role is not to wait in suspended hesitation, holding your life in limbo while someone else negotiates with fear. Your role is to remain aligned with your own truth, to continue building a life that feels full, grounded, and self-respecting. Every decision you make, every boundary you maintain reverberates outward. When someone senses that your energy is no longer orbiting their indecision, not because you are resentful, but because you are evolving, their clarity sharpens. The shift is palpable. They feel the reality. Your life cannot pause for their hesitation. This is the moment when people are compelled to decide not out of fear of loneliness, but out of recognition of your value. Either they step forward intentionally, with courage and accountability, or they step back and allow the connection to conclude with dignity. There is no lasting middle ground, and this is where destiny responds, not as punishment, not as reward, but as alignment. Connections that are meant to grow will find a path through honesty, courage, and emotional integrity. Connections meant to teach will release when growth is resisted. Both outcomes are purposeful. Both serve evolution. Both honor the deeper movement of life. Quietly, internally, invisibly, momentum is building toward resolution. Soon, that shift will emerge externally. A message, a confession, a choice, or a silence that finally communicates clarity. Until then, your most potent action is to remain anchored in your worth. The moment you stop negotiating your value, the universe stops negotiating your outcomes. Pressure begins to mount, not as force, but as awareness. When a decision is delayed long enough, life begins to answer on its own. They will notice signs they cannot dismiss: waves of nostalgia, emotional restlessness, sudden clarity, and a pull toward honesty that feels urgent and frightening. It is as if an internal voice whispers insistently, "This cannot remain unresolved." Distraction is no longer effective because avoidance grows heavier than the confrontation they fear. They begin to recognize something uncomfortable. Indecision is not protective, it is draining. Silence and delay do not lessen the weight, they amplify it. Patterns they have long relied upon to survive, retreating when things become real, intellectualizing feelings, postponing vulnerability, now demand recognition, and with that recognition comes awareness. If these patterns continue, they will repeat, not only with you, but across their life. In this light, the connection becomes symbolic. You stop being simply a person in their life and start representing a crossroads. One path leads to growth, responsibility, and emotional truth. The other leads to familiar safety, stagnation, and unchallenged habits. The realization of choice is stark, unavoidable, and existential. They know which path leads to expansion and which leads to repetition. Carl Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." At this moment, their darkness is fully visible: fear of intimacy, fear of inadequacy, fear of being fully seen. You illuminated these shadows, becoming more than a romantic presence. You became a mirror, and mirrors demand reckoning. The decision is no longer about superficial choice. It is about confronting who they are and who they could become. Questions surface that cannot be avoided. Am I living from fear or from truth? Am I choosing comfort or integrity? Am I avoiding pain or avoiding growth? Neutrality is impossible. Meanwhile, your energy has shifted in subtle but undeniable ways. You are no longer waiting in hope or expectation, not because your care has diminished, but because you have chosen alignment. Your energy radiates groundedness, clarity, and self-direction. You move from anticipation to becoming, from watching to acting, from hoping to living fully. This shift alters the emotional atmosphere. When someone realizes they cannot access you passively, urgency appears. The illusion of unlimited time collapses. They feel that if they want you in their life, hesitation is no longer viable. Emotional vagueness cannot sustain this connection. Reality demands courage, honesty, and full presence. They face the stark choice of either stepping into alignment or stepping back. At this juncture, internal resistance either breaks or hardens. Some rise to the moment, embracing courage despite fear. They speak honestly despite uncertainty, acknowledging the risk of vulnerability because they understand the cost of avoidance. Others retreat, not for lack of feeling, but because transformation is required, and transformation cannot be forced. Either way, truth surfaces. Connections that demand growth cannot tolerate stagnation indefinitely. Meanwhile, within you, profound internal movement occurs. You are no longer defining yourself by their choices. You are reclaiming your center, your peace, your direction. You are remembering that love is not earned by waiting. It is allowed through alignment with your own life. This inner shift carries immense power. When you stop shrinking your existence to accommodate confusion, clarity accelerates, fog lifts, and emotional weight lightens. You no longer search for signs or read between ambiguous lines. You trust yourself. This trust crystallizes outcomes, not because you forced a decision, but because you ceased resisting your own growth. The universe responds to alignment, and the next movement, whether from them or from life itself, emerges organically. The connection, once fraught with tension and hesitation, now reflects clarity, integrity, and evolutionary purpose. In this space, patience is strength, self-respect is sovereignty, and love aligns with truth, revealing the inevitable unfolding of what was meant to be. And whatever decision they make next will be shaped by a new reality, one forged in awareness, reflection, and consequence. If they step forward, it will be intentional, not impulsive, deliberate, not pressured, a choice born from recognition rather than convenience. If they step away, it will not reflect a lack of value in you, but an acknowledgement of their own limits, boundaries, or readiness. Both paths reveal truth, and truth, though often uncomfortable, is liberating. Once clarity arrives, suffering loses its hold. You are no longer suspended between hope and doubt. You stand grounded in self-respect. From that place, fear of outcomes diminishes. You no longer cling to uncertainty because alignment, not avoidance, has become your compass. Now everything slows down, not because nothing is occurring, but because something final is crystallizing. This is the phase where truth can no longer hide behind emotion, where excuses lose their power, and where heart and mind are forced to meet honestly. They feel the urgency in their body, the shift in their sleep, the weight of silence, which is no longer neutral but dense, palpable, demanding attention. They sense that any further delay will carry consequences. Whatever they decide next will define the meaning of this connection, not merely emotionally but existentially. The stakes are no longer fleeting, they are profound. Choosing you now represents presence, honesty, and growth. Walking away represents familiarity, safety, and emotional distance.